Hello and welcome back. Good to see everyone again. Today we have an episode of our Versus series, which is today we are pitting a new ride against the ride it replaced. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway versus the Great Movie Ride. Please note that I will provide full POVs for both rides at the end of this video. So let's grab Nikki and go to Disney's Hollywood Studios and get this competition started. Let's start things off by talking about the theming of each attraction, both inside and out. The outside facade is the Chinese theater, so the outside theming is basically the same. They swapped out the signage. They have new signage for the Runaway Railway and the signage that they had for Great Movie Ride. They are both very similar. They are of the same styling. The early stages of the queue for both rides are also very similar. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway did add these cool movie posters. In fact, the movie posters actually scroll so the images change from time to time. And the images are of Mickey shorts, right? Exactly. Yeah, like short versions of Mickey cartoons. Correct. Which is, you know, it's entertaining if you're standing in line for a long time. Once you get past that main section of the queue, the Great Movie Ride would round you up into a large theater to show you clips of classic movies to sort of set the mood for you. Right, often in black and white, quick little movie clips, you know, with music to go with it. Very entertaining in that aspect, and it definitely sets the mood for what you're about to see. Mickey's Railway also herds you into 3 small theaters, but this time it's to show you a Mickey short. Which is pretty cool because, I mean, now you've got 3 separate theaters. It's a bit smaller, a little bit more intimate, feels more like you're a part of it. Yeah. You know, and all of that is original too. The original score and the original cartoon. Yes. That they're going to show. But the coolest thing happens in Mickey's Railway theaters. When the short ends, a hole is blown through the movie screen and you walk through that hole into the cartoon, into the short. Right, so it almost feels like you are walking into and now you've become a part of the cartoon. I love that. And once you walk through that hole, it leads you to the last part of the queue, which really has that look and feel of being in a cartoon. 100%. Yeah, I mean, like everything, every single detail from ceiling to walls to flooring to the color and the ride attendants. Everything feels like you've stepped into a cartoon. Yep. So in conclusion, I think we have to say the theming elements are slightly better in Mickey's Railway than they were for the Great Movie Ride. I would agree, definitely. So point to Mickey's Railway, making it 1-0. For round 2, let's talk about the effects. Mickey's Railway uses the latest technology. Of course, it's brand new. It's going to have the latest technology. It uses 2.5D technology, which is basically using projection mapping onto practical props. Now, I love this aspect of it, using all the latest technology to, you know, create a more immersive surrounding. Definitely. I think that it's fantastic when you get in there and you actually feel the wind and you know, with the tornado and things like that. And it really does make you feel completely immersed into the cartoon. It should also be noted that Mickey's Railway is a trackless ride, which really comes in handy in one particular scene, the scene when Daisy in the dance hall studio. I 100% agree with that. That part like cracked me up. I really enjoyed that section of the ride, definitely. Yeah, that was super fun. Yeah, it definitely brought a smile to my face in that section. Now, the Great Movie Ride was not a trackless ride, but it was a very smooth ride system as well. Yes, definitely. From all the starts and stops from each movie scene transition was great. It was a very, you know, comfortable ride as well. So both in that aspect, I think, are very comparable. Right. The Great Movie Ride was all practical effects with live actors and a real person as the ride host. Which honestly, I appreciate that. I know some people might have, you know, looking back now might think, oh, well, that's kind of hokey or kind of dated. But I really enjoyed that interaction between, you know, the characters, the live action characters throughout the movie, you know, ride progression. Yes, I agree with you. It really added to the fun of the Great Movie Ride. Now, this may be a bit controversial, but I'm giving a point to each ride for effects. Mickey's Railway has that cool 2.5D effect, but Great Movie Ride, in a sense, has 3D effects. You can't get more 3D than a live actor and a live host playing a role. So for this one, I'm gonna give it a tie.
I would agree, honestly. I don't think it's that controversial. I think that you can appreciate both in what they both had to offer. And they were both really, really good at what they offered.
So both rides get a point, making the running score 2-1, still in favor of Mickey's Railway. Now let's move on to round 3, ride enjoyment, and this is what I consider to be the most important category of this competition. Even though it is still just worth 1 point, I think ride enjoyment is the most important thing. And Mickey's Railway is a cute, fun ride. It's like stepping into a cartoon.
So, and it is the only Mickey-based theme attraction in all of Walt Disney World.
That's right. You think of Disney World and all their parks, and you think of Mickey Mouse, and he is like all over the parks as in the form of a meet and greet. But this is the only attraction that is centered around Mickey Mouse himself.
There's also seamless transitions from one story element to the next. It really, like the transitioning from one scene to another where the ride vehicle moves is seamless. You don't really notice it at all.
Right.
They did a great job on that.
And there are a ton of hidden Mickeys in this attraction, plus it's all original music. Now the Great Movie Ride is almost like stepping into the movies. It's almost like riding a timeline of great movies.
It's very nostalgic. I think the nostalgia of both movies and songs that span multi-generations really pulls at your heartstrings.
Yeah, I agree. It hits both ends, the movies, and of course, songs and music is so important to the movies. So it really does hit that nostalgia factor.
I would say that it's almost like a mini cultural history lesson on the movies and entertainment through the decades.
Yeah.
It really is as it progresses through the ride.
Yeah, the first part of the ride, I'm not so familiar with a lot of the movies.
Right, exactly.
I kind of know the scenes from those movies, but I don't know if I really watched those movies from beginning to end.
Yeah, like Singing in the Rain.
Right.
You've never seen it, but I have. I watched it of course, it was old when, I was a kid, but I remember seeing it as a child watching those musicals.
Right. I've only seen the clips of him singing in the rain.
On the lamppost.
Also with the Great Movie Ride, we have those scenes based throughout the track. We talked about this earlier a little bit, the live actor scenes. There's like a cowboy scene, a gangster scene. There's a scene very reminiscent of like Indiana Jones kind of.
Right, and not every scene got acted out. So like one trip on the Great Movie Ride, you might be able to see the cowboy scene, but you wouldn't see the gangster scene.
Right.
You just kind of go through that area. So it's not like it was the same ride every time. It did get switched up.
Yeah, you didn't know what you were going to get when you get in the ride.
Exactly, which always made that very interesting, I thought.
Yeah.
Are we going to see the gangster scene, where they're shooting each other out, with the cars and everything? Or, is it going to be the cowboy scene with John Wayne?
And to that point, I think having the host on your little ride vehicle and the live actor elements is a huge plus for the Great Movie Ride. And for that reason, I'm going to give the point for ride enjoyment to the Great Movie Ride.
Ooh, it's tied up 2-2 now.
Yep, 2-2. What are we going to do? And what happens in a lot of these cases where it is a tie, since this channel I consider to be a collaboration between us and our viewers, we are going to turn to our IG followers because we did do a poll on this and ask them which ride they preferred. But before we get to those results from IG, you should follow us on IG so you can participate in that. Let's share some of our final thoughts on this, Nikki.
So with the Great Movie Ride, it was kind of our routine or our tradition to, whenever we went to Disney Hollywood Studios,
yes,
to go to that ride and then have dinner at the, is it Sci-Fi?
Well, technically the routine I think was we would go do something like Rock and Roller Coaster or Tower of Terror. Then we would go to the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater.
And then, then we'd hit up Great Movie Ride.
We would end our night with the Great Movie Ride. That was our routine.
Yeah, so, for us, it has a strong pull of, of tradition.
Yes, personal tradition.
Exactly.
Now, I will say this about Mickey's Runaway Railway. It's a great addition to the park. We love that it's there, We just wish that it was not a replacement of the Great Movie Ride. If it was just an addition to the park, that would be great.
I think that the Great Movie Ride, yeah, I'm sad that it got replaced. Yeah. Definitely. That it could have used some updating. Definitely. It could have had a few newer movies added. But it could have been is it salient where it can grow and evolve over time?
Yeah, they could adjust it they could have adjusted it from time to time, taking away some scenes, adding some newer scenes.
Yeah, so that the younger generation, has movies that pull to their nostalgia. But I would agree with you that Mickey's and Minnie's Runaway Railway could have been a great park addition instead of, taking away Great Movie Ride.
We kind of ding it a bit because we had to lose the Great Movie Ride to get it.
Exactly.
And here's the thing, it is Disney's Hollywood Studios. It is all about the movies.
Yeah.
So that Great Movie Ride really
captured the essence of that park.
Yeah, the heart of that park.
Yeah.
Whereas now we know movies often have shorts, or they used to way back in the day. And Mickey did a lot of shorts, but it's not as big to the movie industry as actual movies.
Exactly. So our IG followers also gave their input, because we did ask, okay, well, why did you choose what you chose?
Okay, are we going to give the results right now, or some of the statements?
Well, let's give some of the statements.
Okay, read some of the statements, and then we'll tell you the actual results of the IG poll and have a winner for you.
Kyle David 11 said it was a rare trip inside the movies that can never be replaced. So obviously he chose the Great Movie Ride. Random Soul Sunshine said, I love the old concept of Hollywood Studios and feel the ride was a great fit. Ellis Matthew 334 said, Clint Eastwood.
Obviously a reference to the Great Movie Ride.
Exactly. Let's see. Jonathan Woodcock 587 said the first ride Mickey and Minnie's got to themselves. Raven's Love. I will always love the old ride, but I'm excited how technology can make a new amazing experience. Nikki 0807 said anything better than the Great Movie Ride. Boring. So we definitely have people on both sides of the fence with this one.
So without further delay, here are the results of our IG poll. 52% to 48%, which I think kind of mirrors our own feelings on the two rides. The point for round 5 and the winner of the tiebreaker goes to
Great Movie Ride.
The Great Movie Ride. So with those results, I kind of agree. Personally, it was so close for me. 52 to 48 is kind of my own personal feelings.
I would agree. Yeah, Great Movie Ride definitely inches out for me. But Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is definitely, a nice ride.
It's a nice fun ride for people to enjoy for sure.
Exactly.
But don't take our word for it. The rest of the video will feature on-ride POVs of both the Great Movie Ride and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Everyone, enjoy.
Hooray for Hollywood indeed. What better way to start our journey? From the Old West to the rooftops of London and along the yellow brick road, there really is no place like the movies. One of Hollywood's significant contributions to the world of film were great musicals. This scene is from one of my favorites, the 1933 Busby Berkeley spectacular, Footlight Parade. Here's one of the most famous of all dance sequences. It's from the 1952 musical classic, Singing in the Rain.
And here's Gene Kelly singing in the rain. Literally.
Here's one of the quintessential Disney musicals, Mary Poppins, starring Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke. This classic earned 13 Academy Award nominations.
Sing along. Hold on to your wallets and purses, folks. This doesn't look like a very good neighborhood.
Here's the birthplace of the gangster film, the seedy underbelly of Chicago, from The Public Enemy, starring James Cagney. Released Established in 1931 before strict censorship rules were enforced, Public Enemy is a gritty, realistic, and violent look at the world of gangsters of the Depression era.
I love this movie. In one famous scene, James Cagney shoves a grapefruit into Mae Clark's face. She could never look at breakfast in the same way again. These some guys could turn anything into a weapon.
Yeah. I'm telling you, very nice time. Don't look around. He's going to leave you some beer here. I'm going to take it. And you're going to kick him with the dog. And if you don't, somebody's going to drop by here and kick your teeth out one at a time. Okay?
Sorry about the delay, folks, but I don't want to run a red light, even in the movies. I'm not allowed to leave my vehicle.
I think it's time for a visit to a concession stand. Bye.
Mr. Osborne, wait. Okay, Muggsy, whatever you say.
Hey, how do you know my name? I have seen this movie before. Now you do so see, and the face of the car is not like it, and he's so weak, you're making a mistake here, Muggsy. This is my money here. You want to get hard again? Just walk out and know the movie. Sure they come, boss. Get out of some grinders.
And they can watch these. Hey, sorry boys, I think you might get away. You might have got to the water. Suckers! What are you looking at? Everybody mind your peace and juice and maybe you won't get hurt. Wow, this must be the west side of town, huh?
Western films depict the legendary American wild frontier, where cowboys and their loyal steeds maintain order in towns against the untamable wilderness. John Wayne and Clint Eastwood are two of the iconic stars who epitomize this ideal of the stoic gunslinger.
Sleepy little boy, Jay.
That's some mighty tough territory you're heading into, Pilgrim. I'd think about turning back if I was you. That is, if you want my opinion. But I reckon you...
Now the way in the clear. This is the perfect time for me to take all your belongings. Hey, Cooper! How do you get work in this neighborhood?
Nothing going on, man. Give yourself help up. Thinking the judge will go easy on you. You'll swing for this. Do it. I'm up. The judge will go easy.
No.
You'll swing for this. Do it.
I'm getting out of here. Let's look at it. It can't get any worse. Okay, it's worse. I by Tuesday, but things started to get kind of cute. Where are we? Jersey?
Science fiction has been a staple of classic movies, from George Méliès's A Trip to the Moon to George Lucas's Star Wars. In 1979, director Ridley Scott and Sigourney Weaver made audiences believe that in space, no one can hear you scream. This is Alien.
Hey, go Gates! How do we get out of here?
Warning, remain in your vehicle. The area you are entering is extremely dangerous. Proceed with caution.
The emergency disruptor system is now activated. The ship will detonate in T-minus 10. The option to override all detonation expires. The system is now activated. The ship will detonate in T-minus 10. The option to override all detonation expires.
That's enough to go to things for one day, right? Oh, wrong.
Steven Spielberg and George Lucas cemented their status as the blockbuster boys with their first partnership. Here from that legendary collaboration is Harrison Ford as archaeologist Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, snakes! Why did it have to be snakes?
Some of the biggest horror stars of Hollywood appear in the ancient story of a cursed Egyptian temple. A priceless jewel that beckons to all, but be warned, the temptation always leads to destruction.
Wow, era load of nacho guys. Time for me to get back to work. Good thing I don't believe in ghost stories. Don't nobody move while I go get the goods. I don't think they'll notice a few extra bodies on one head. If you know what I mean.
I've seen enough movies to know that you really shouldn't even think about trying to steal that jewel.
Don't, unbeliever, disturb the treasure of the gods, and you shall all pay with your lives.
Not bad for my first movie, huh?
The twist ending. That just goes to show you anything can happen in the movies. Now, let's get on with the show.
I see dead people. Things that go bump in the night have always been a staple in the movies. One of the first horror films was a silent short featuring a dancing skeleton, created by Lumia Brothers in 1897. Wow. It really is the jungle out there. Where are we?
This is the jungle home of one of the most famous movie characters of them all, Tarzan. The movie's most popular Tarzan is undoubtedly Johnny Weissmuller, who swung through 12 films as the King of the Jungle.
And over there we have Marino Sullivan as Jane and Tarzan's sidekick Cheetah. She's been portrayed by over a dozen chimpanzee actors over the years. How about a nice round of applause for Jake, Skippy, Harry, Zippy, Dinky, and all the rest. You know, the jungle has always been a perfect setting for great adventure movies. Think of the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where archaeologist Indiana Jones braves a thick to steal the golden idol. Or the spooky jungle where Arnold Schwarzenegger bound for Predator. Tarzan paved the way with his iconic cape call, so Arnold would eventually get the lead job done.
Here's Humphrey Bogart in his most famous film role. In 1942, Bogey finally got to spread his wings and romance the beautiful Ingrid Bergman in Casablanca. And now, one of the most famous movie stars in one of his greatest roles, Mickey Mouse, is the Sorcerer's Apprentice in Fantasia.
When the film came out in 1940, Walt Disney promised to add the musical sequences in the future. His nephew Roy kept that promise 60 years later with the release of Fantasia 2000.
We've come over the rainbow and into one of the most beloved and most watched films in movie history, The Wizard of Oz.
So I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Follow the yellow brick road. Now why didn't I think of that? Sing along, folks. You know the words.
Here at Disney's Hollywood Studios and Turner Classic Movies, we hope you've enjoyed our tour through some of my favorite films. But remember, there are many more adventures waiting for you every day on TCM.
We didn't need dialogue. We had faces.
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet. Step inside. I feel the need for a spin.
I'll be back.
I'm a man. Well, nobody's perfect. Shut up.
Force will be with you always.
Well, I like it on awfully cabin fever.
I want to be alone. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Good morning, Vietnam!
He's looking at you, kid.
Movies, the stuff that dreams are made of. I hope you've enjoyed our ultimate celebration of classic movies. And remember, you can find many more beloved stories and legendary stars on Turner Classic Movies.
On behalf of Disney's Hollywood Studios and Turner Classic Movies, I'd like to thank you for joining us on the great movie ride. Now, please remain seated until the vehicle comes to a complete stop. Please gather your personal belongings and take yourself over by the hand. And when these doors open, ride dramatically to your feet and make a grand exit directly towards the rear of your vehicle. And one more thing, when I yell action, don't forget the thunderous applause for yours truly. Okay, places everyone, and action! Thank you.
Please keep up that party in front of you, friends.
Plane on! Didn't you all hear me way back in the back?
Welcome aboard, folks. We're ready for a relaxing ride around the park.
Hiya, folks. Hello there. How you do?
Hey, you making me up?
Sure you take good care of our friends.
Of course, bear with me. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, no. Miles have been that track.
Oh, it's working on me.
beautifully together. Now, let's
ride around the park. Thanks for sticking with me. Hey, picnickers! Told you nothing was gonna go wrong.
Nothing can stop us now. I'm so